it's like people just taking everything easy. But besides that, that's a social thing. But economically, yes, I think that there are a lot of poor, like not to say it don't need to be highlighted, but they're like significantly highlighting it, I think, at this time, because it is like the anniversary. I don't know how many years or whatever, but I do understand that there was a lot of people that went back. A lot of those people grew up in generations, and a lot of those
recovered from it.
They never, and then not only the projects, but it was just like all the properties that Black people owned in their houses in those areas is the ones that was by the levees, and they lost all their stuff. So it's just like it's just messed up down there. It's just not. I don't know. I don't know what they gonna do. They have to do something. And the levees is still, from my understanding, they supposed to be quote unquote fixed, but they predominantly Black areas that flood.
The city is built below sea level, so they need to just shut the whole shit down.
Yeah, I want to see that, Katrina.
Movie about it. I can't wait to check it out. There's a documentary.
Yeah, I know all about that setup. It's a damn shame. I would be furious if I said we're gonna take an influx of this cocaine and put it in the poorest areas, the ghettos, and that's where a lot of people's moms today are, and family members are crack addicts, because it was a target, from the Contra Wars and COINTELPRO to put crack cocaine in Black neighborhoods, and that's why they never recovered. The film's called Kill the Messenger. So from a solution-based perspective, do you guys think it's and I'm not trying to change this to a Trump thing, but, with him talking about bringing in the I think it is, because the kids are so far gone. It's not like this is Avatar and people are encroaching on an indigenous population that is connected to, the land, and we remember our history, and we're thriving. You know what I mean? Like, the kids are brainwashed, programmed, full of trauma, and they're so far gone. It's like, and we, we tried with Jesus, we tried with the PE coaches and the football and things like that. It's like, and they've got the statistics on their side. That's why white people, when they run to these different rooms, they're the first thing to talk about per capita and statistics, because then data, they can then form up militias and form up laws. You know what I'm saying? So they got the data on their side.
Monica, Naya, are you here? Or both of you here?
Yeah.
Yep. It also is. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna ask MG.
Okay, fine.
We'll be fine.
Fine.
Y'all are gonna leave NY over there. Can you make a mod? I want to be a mod. You guys can go away.
You cannot be a mod in the muff. Sorry.
Yes. Monica, why?
No.
Why? Are you
You don't like it in the muff. I don't hate you.
Oh, that's
You
true.
don't
I
like
don't like muffs.
I can get
So
the
we
way.
can do it for the societal ills. We can't.
So it is interesting, every country struggles with this situation, right? I have shared this in the past. There is a group, so the descendants of Spaniards in the Dominican Republic still hold 40-45% of the wealth of the country, and they can be traced directly to when they were given land by the Spanish colonizers when they left, right? And the problem 200 years later is still a problem because the unequal distribution of assets, 10% holds 45% of the wealth. And I think sometimes Americans think this is the only country where this happens. The same situation is in the U.S. The majority of the wealth in the country is still congregated in the hands of white Americans. Why? Because the government subsidized a lot of them getting land. 97% of landowners in this country are white Americans. Why? Because the government basically handed it to them. And then we talk about certain communities are impoverished. Why are they still impoverished 100 years later? And it's it was this is such a consistent issue across multiple countries that primarily phenomenally end up have similar roots across various nations.
All right. So generational wealth.
And then
75% of generational wealth ends after the second or third generation. Generational poverty, though, is much better than hanging around. So there's that.
Oh, that's a good point. I like how you phrase that, like intergenerational poverty. Then that leads into like worse health outcomes. So then why do poor people tend to have worse health? Because they can't afford higher quality food. Part of that is because in America you have to pay to play to get healthy produce and groceries at the nicer stores that aren't filled with pesticides and preservatives and whatever.
And then we have to talk about epigenetics and people not tapping into the potential of their genes because of lack of resources.
See, I that's one thing I tend to stay away from epigenetics. Maybe it's because I don't know a ton about genetics and I don't feel good like debating it, but it also makes me uncomfortable. Like the concept of epigenetics and like some people's success is coded in their genes. It's just very un-American. But I mean, I don't think it's wrong.
More like a light switch.
Wait,
there are genes that you can activate by doing things to activate them. And then.
But like the issue with epigenetics is that someone talked about education, so I'll just go run off of that. The issue with education in the United States is usually if you're on a specific. So I was put in the honors track in the 4th grade, right? Like they take me in the honors track from the 4th grade until I graduated college. There was only a certain amount of slots. We had advanced curriculum. Everyone in that track had a higher GPA. Was it because of my genetics, or was it because I was put in the honors track and treated like the golden child in my high school and middle school?
Smartest because the parents can spend more time with them in their education, and as they have more children. Well, compared to the first child, anyway. But let's go ahead and blame the white man because that's,
Yeah, the white man, they got all the land by the government. That's why white people are so rich, because the government gave white people everything and black people nothing.
So,
John, we have direction. I don't. Bring him back up if it's okay.
No. I didn't know. I didn't know. I was, I'll send you a back channel without saying too much on the stage.
So it gets complicated because, blame the white man, yes, it is slightly annoying, but there is some truth partially to it. But at a certain point, then you're like, okay, how do we remediate? Because the country wants to move forward. How do you fix the problem? And that's where nobody really has a solution. You just continue to blame the white man because everybody knows they fucked up in the past, which they have. But to fix that, no one has a good solution. And so it's just easier to play the blame game instead of how do we actually fix it, because that requires a lot more work. You're not, if the government subsidizes land for a significant portion of the population, should they take it away from that? Or should other people be allocated federal land to compensate them from a financial perspective? And that's honestly when we talk about this. This is the only argument for reparations that has made sense for me on this app. What is a way to basically financially compensate people without bankrupting the country? Is give them some federal land, and then they can sell it, and then they can make money off that federal land if they choose to. And just like they gave white Americans land throughout the entire country at subsidized rates.
Oh, interesting.
They can't sell it.
They can't sell it, right? They have the
reserve is ironically accurate, but I think they call it reservation.
Well, yeah, they got pushed off the original, the whole Trail of Tears. They got pushed off the original. And, they were given certain plots of land.
They were a bunch of terrorists who resisted modernization.
No, don't do that.
Well, they lived in relative harmony with nature.
They smashed each other's brains with rocks.
The noble savage is a myth Did you know that? It's meant to perpetuate it.
I mean,
There are reports of Native Americans conquering other Native Americans and then roasting their young on spit and eating them in front of the mothers. If you really want to go there, but I don't think you do, because we're in the month, we're having coffee. I don't know if anyone finished their breakfast or not, so let's not.
Yes, I mean they had interfighting tribal wars, but also
Right,
they didn't kill.
because man's inhumanity to man is historical.
Oh, I'm speaking. They didn't kill 80 million buffalo either.
Maybe they weren't as good hunters as the white man.
80 million though, come on.
we gotta give the credit to the white people. They sure are really good at killing things. Like the good white people
That's
have
right. You're welcome.
Listen, I don't know if Mother was being sarcastic, but let's wake it up. Monica, I trust that you saw my back channel, and now I know. Now I'm clear.
There is a violence problem, amongst African Americans. There's a pedophilia problem amongst white Americans. They are 70% of all people, all online pedophilia criminals that are indicted.
That are reported and indicted. That's important clarification right there.
And so that's 70%. And you guys make up what, 56% of the American population? So you overextend on your per capita in the pedophilia side of things. Also, the biggest supporters and criminals when it comes to sexual trafficking offenses, the white man.
It is across the board, pretty much consistent. So try.
No, I have the government stats and I can share the pedophilic jacket.
This is on a slightly different tangent. It's on them to bring them to America. They bring them to the U.S. because they are their sponsor for their visa. They basically own them like slaves. Like I always warn women that are like it is actually I don't like women. It's like a very well-known thing that those type of men are extremely controlling, abusive, and predatory. But I just thought I would bring that up.
It's deeper than that. White men are the biggest contributor.
You have 2 million people coming over. The chances of more criminals coming over to get with fentanyl, amphetamines, and all this other stuff has to go up because the numbers went up.
Well, technically, they're all criminals because they crossed the border, which is against the law in the United States. So, if you cross the border illegally, you're a criminal. And if you have the courage to break the law before even entering the country, you're a criminal. You have a criminal mindset. I mean, why are we beating around the bush here? That's breaking the law.
Can I pose
There's a proper way to enter the country. My family had to do it. And that's it, I mean, I don't understand why, we're beating around the bush here. There's nothing to.
Harry, let me ask you a question. Harry, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like the Clinton administration is kind of what made it sexy to come over the border and to, gaslight people and to make all these claims? And, as you're answering that question, let me refer back to
right outside to the northwest of the town of Chicago. John Kitover is a longtime Clubhouse user known to many as Edmund Dakin, but recently revealed to be John Kitover, none other than John Kitover. John, I'd like to tell you two things. Well, I'd like to tell you something and ask you something. First, John, I want to tell you that George Perseus recently donated $5 to the campaign to elect John Kitover, the candidate for Congress in the 16th District of Illinois, and I think that is amazing. And I asked George if he would be willing to donate even $1 to the campaign to help me get a hotel room when I come to Chicago to collect signatures, and he donated $5. I thought that was amazing, and so thank you, George. And then, John, if you will, this guy Shashi, I believe is not American, so he's not legally eligible to donate to the campaign, but he did ask me, why should I vote for John Kitover? And I don't think he's even eligible to vote for you because he's not in the 16th District of Illinois. But I thought, why should I vote for John Kitover was a great question. And I thought if you wanted to try to answer it, it would be a good opportunity for you to answer such a question as that.
George, thanks. I appreciate it. We need about 1,000 times more, and then we can fly out Zach to help me with signature gathering. Sashi, and if you want to know what to vote for me, link is in the chat.
Okay. Hey, the fact that you like Trump is like all I need, you know.
Shashi, are you in America?
No, I do like Trump. John, do you get bitches?
That's a key question.
John, what is your body count?
Oh, these are some very interesting questions, Shashi, that, I feel like we need to talk in the back channel or something. Are you looking to increase your body count and up your game with the ladies?
No, the higher the body count that you have, I am more prone to like vote for you. You can donate. So I can put in like $10 if you want. Like you can have a bunch of
Interesting. The second anthropological lens on that. Shashi, do you believe that higher body count means more competency in socio-political affairs?
Yes, it means he can get a bigger crowd. Like he's a captivating person. Get the bitches and the dudes. With bitches comes dudes. That's it.
I'd like to just briefly welcome Q, who's a listener in the audience, and I wonder if Q might be willing. Q, I'd like to invite you very humbly and kindly, if you'd be willing to donate to the campaign to elect John Kitover, the Clubhouse user, to Congress. He's running for Congress in the 16th District of Illinois, and we're collecting donations for the campaign. If everybody on Clubhouse could donate $1, $1 or $2, or even $5 or $10, George Perseus recently donated $5 to the campaign. And if you could consider donating $1 or $5 to the campaign, it would help me get a hotel room when I go to Chicago to collect signatures with the candidate for John Kitover. So please consider donating to the campaign. Jumbotron, and here you go.
Like John, my friend, can you answer the question? Like, what is your body count?
Sorry, Shashi, I signed an oath to be an adult and mature and not engage in frivolous conversations. So any further questions like that, you'll be put to the goo, Shashi.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because, Trump is known to be ladies' man,
Clever is a potential campaign donator.
Yeah, what's up, John? What's your thing? What you got for?
Is this pockets?
I think if John had Trump's life, I think John would definitely score much more than Trump. Big time.
Well, let's just.
Shit, tell me about it, John. What's your campaign?
I just think John's a good-looking guy, better looking than Trump.
John has a speech.
John Kitover is running for Congress in the 16th District of Illinois. That covers Rockford, Peoria, other towns to the northwest of the town of Chicago. John Kitover, a Clubhouse user, known to some as is running for Congress, and we're seeing Cam likely.
Well, no, that's actually, I'm saying, I can go for you. I'm asking, what's your position?
So I did an interview, which covers about 10 different topics. Link is in the chat, but I can answer any specific question you want.
What's the biggest problem in Illinois? I don't know really about that.
Property taxes, income taxes.
Love that.
All right, that was a scam likely.
Hey, John, what do you think about, pedophiles?
Cashman in your city, trolling city.
Shashi, you have been warned. I'm going to have to move you to the audience, unfortunately, because I want to connect with Clever. Oh, I made him a moderator. Wait a minute. Don't in the room. All right, sounds good. I don't have permission to move others to the audience. Shashi, please move yourself to the audience, if you will. I'm going to just remove you from the room.
Yeah, Zach, create a house and call it or just call it candidate Congressman John Kitover or John Kitover fundraiser or something. But create a house.
Well, we should do that, but I am currently driving.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
cool.
to go in 12 minutes.
In the future, don't just do a public room. Do a room on record and make me an admin in it, so we have the ability to do this. Because honestly, rooms like Monica's in the Muff, as you can see now, are just a complete and total waste of time. So, yeah, I want to use my time productively here on this app. I want to hear N-word, F-word people talking about how white people got everything because the government gave it to them and they're owed the reparations. I'm not going to waste my time.
I thought that guy was joking, but I agree with you.
Yeah, it's total. Monica is an idiot. She is just a total waste of time.
Well, I think you should also consider inviting everybody that you speak with to donate $1, $5, or even $10 to the campaign. And so Clever, even though John is just a Clubhouse user and you might not even be a resident of Chicago, you could still consider donating to the campaign $1 or $5. I think we should look up the legality of this. Can you collect donations from everybody across the country?
It needs a good foot in the door. So
you can.
Yeah, the rules are also on the link above on who can donate.
Okay, nice.
Get it, John. I hope you win.
Thanks. You live in Illinois?
No, I'm on the West Coast, but I support you. I also just travel around trolling city halls, so you're welcome.
You might think it's a joke until you listen to the John
No, it's
Kitover
not.
podcast.
Listen,
John, you should put the link.
Can I finish my thoughts?
I'm sorry, but yes. Yeah.
I joke about that because, I do go around I go through actual city halls trolling them, like, in a productive way. Like, hi, hello, this is, like, making a joke of, like, actual subjects because it draws attention.
I was just going to say John has a nice podcast that he did. John, you should put the link to that podcast in your bio here probably so people can listen to it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's called On the Prairie.
I think Trump is a response to Western civilization, and especially the United States, seemingly zero tolerance policy towards alpha males. Alpha lives matter. That's it.
It's kind of funny because, like, if you are alpha, you eventually overcome the beta.
You get fucked if you're alpha, if you're too threatening, like Joseph and his brothers and Potiphar's wife. It's hard to be alpha in civilization.
I think
because it triggers status anxiety in people. And Trump is like a fantasy of the alpha that Elon Musk, they are outside of having to be accountable to everyday workplace bureaucratic culture, and they run the show. They're on top of the hierarchy, but they're outside the norms of the hierarchy. So they're able to just actualize the positions that challenge the norms are good for society. They have the luxury of having the resources to put themselves in that position, representing that position. They just sneaked out of the swamp. They find out they were able to. That's what the swamp is, the ritualistic bureaucratic norms and networks and hierarchies. That's per Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and all the government networks with tenure.
Can I ask John a question real quick?
Go for it.
What made you want to be a politician?
It was the first time I ran for committee person, and I saw how incredibly difficult ballot access is and the lawsuits that I had to go through with the Chicago Republicans and the fraud that I witnessed. That's what has pushed me into wanting to fight and resist in politics.
Exactly. The best way to beat a system is to be a part of it. Beat it from the inside.
Yeah, it's a
That's
real
the biggest
challenge.
reason I like want to be a lawyer. Just paying a shit ton of money for that.
Well, I mean, lawyers are essentially extremely advanced communicators, and
Yeah, we just
yeah, I mean, people get paid for communication consulting in a way. That's what a lawyer is, because there's lawyers on here who will play word games with you and put in an extremely complicated sentence that you don't know the legal definitions to, and they'll act as if that makes them smart because they know the definition to some technical legal jargon, and that's not real intelligence. That's just regurgitating.
No, that's litigation. Litigation is boring.
I mean, if you just read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and you have a great understanding of that document, you're smarter than 99% of the people in this country.
Snap, I'll vote for you. I'll establish a residence today.
Well, you can give $1 today if you want.
Yeah, you can donate to the campaign.
That dollar will travel far.
Everybody on Clubhouse donated $1, just like the Rebbe. That would be amazing.
Honestly, I'll do both. What's up? Honestly, get it, John.
Thanks. A lot of people on this app have been very resistant, and basically that show I told Zach the other day, I was like, I have very little hope for humanity, because you would think that people on this app would want to support you and have your back because you've been here and you've been in communication or community so long, but it's the exact opposite. You get attacked. The moment you try to move up the hierarchy or try to improve your situation or accurately describe a situation, you get boomed and busted and shot at and chopped at, and that's life. It's not it's not for the timid, it's not for the weak, but the fact of the matter is most people are so self-centered, narcissistic, egotistical, and petty that they themselves will never achieve anything because they never help other people get what they want, so thus they never get what they want.
Absolutely, Tim. Some people just hate to see you succeed.
Well, I'm not even succeeding in anything yet. If I can get on the ballot in March, it'll be a success. But the fact that people on Clubhouse...
How do we get you on the ballot? Is that just money?
Well...
We need to collect signatures,
yeah.
And then I need to fly out because I'm John's secret weapon. I need money because he doesn't really have exactly enough money that I would be expecting.
Well, yeah, but how do we get you on the ballot? It can't be that hard, right?
We just need signatures.
All right. Let's go.
Well, but it has to be... Clever, do you want to come to Illinois and drive around and collect signatures? Because it has to be people on the ground in Rockford, Peoria.
I have nothing going on this month.
She's down. There you go.
I'm self-employed. I ain't got shit going on.
Do you really have the ability... If you hire people for $15 an hour, how many people for how many hours could you actually employ?
I would do a flat, if we're actually campaigning for a good cause, I'd do a flat rate, just $200 a day. Some per diem. I got you. I'll run around.
Well, we need a lot of donations. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
I believe in you. Let's make it happen. It's possible. Dreams are possible.
Well, I would say that anybody who actually wants to come to Chicago to get signatures should spend 30 days raising money on Clubhouse first, because it's pretty much all self-funded. I mean, I have enough.
Absolutely.
Everything is day to day, because right now I'm getting a lot of messages from people on Craigslist from posts that I put up to do signature gathering this weekend. And proof is always in the pudding. So, anybody who's local and can easily access, petition areas, signature areas, high density areas of people, those are the people that are going to get the priority for the dollars that we've raised. But Friday, I have a big interview coming up. It's going to be on TV and the internet and, print. So Friday is a big campaign day, and that trip will be paid for by people on Clownhouse, people that apparently hate me now, but still gave money to the campaign. And either they gave money directly or indirectly because like Hakima gave $100 because he got to kick Monica to the goo. So
That is amazing. Wow, really? That is amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That is pretty awesome.
Hakima is one of the biggest donors. Jay Breska is the biggest donor, and he hates my guts. Isn't that ironic?
Wait, why did he donate to the campaign?
I don't know. We caught him in a moment with Roger Mayhem in the room, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm voting for you, John. I'm giving you money." Blah, put on a little show, gave all the money, but now he kicks me from the room.
Amazing.
Yeah, if I go to his room now, he goes, "I'm kicking this piece of shit." So it's like, people are schizo in their decision making, where, it's like, it's insincere. I mean, I'm transparent. People don't like me because I've recorded them and basically, maybe put them in a light that they couldn't control the branding of, because I've recorded it. But it's all in their mind's eye, because like nobody looks at my videos. I have no influence. I have no reach, and so I'm just playing a game with people's brains, and I've agitated them, but I've not impacted anyone. I've merely created a psychological conditioning.
Well, manipulation is a great tactic. It can be used for good or bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to use it for good. I'm trying to get people to get in touch with what they're saying, because many people on this app.
Sometimes you gotta twist their brain a little bit.
Well, if people watch their playback, because they're so scandalous, I mean, it can help calm people down, because they realize, you know what? I am coming on here and road raging nonstop like a psychopath.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Well, it's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for other people to do toxic communication on this app 50 hours a week.
Absolutely not. I think there are certain rooms that it's kind of like a self-therapy thing, but like people that are serious, I believe in your dreams, girl. I'm about to send you $350. I got about $350.
Awesome.
It's a South Park reference, got it like the Loch Ness Monster. He's like $350.
Loch Ness.
It's a South Park reference. It's silly.
Did you see the actor who played the Trump penis guy on the recent South Park episode? He wants credits.
Jeez, I haven't seen the new season at all.
Yeah, he didn't get a credit, so he was upset about it. There was an article all about how he's demanding.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm broke as fuck. I'm about to send you $350.
Just send me $1. $1 would be awesome. No need to send $350.
Well, $350 lucky.
Well, when we spend your money, I'm gonna text you or email you.
Here we go. You got your $1. Alrighty. Bloop. I have to add a shipping address.
Let me see if I get this person's number.
Because I'm on Apple Pay, so shit. I don't know. I guess I didn't get an address. But you can send that to me privately, or even I think maybe like a zip code. Just a zip code would do it.
Oh shit! What day is it?
Because I can just make up an address out there, and I'll just zip code it. It'd be fine. But yeah, I'm willing to donate because shit, I believe in dreams. I'd be nothing without the people that supported my dream lately, so shit.
What are your dreams?
I'm an artist, I'm a musician. Yeah. Well, I've been self-employed for 10 years, but it's been kind of rough these days.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but so I just had to restart it. I got banned last year because I made a video of Joe Biden falling up the stairs to like my shitty dubstep music that I made drunkenly, and I got banned for that. Like they literally deleted my channel, so I had to start a new one. And I haven't really been putting a lot of effort into this one, but I do have one. Maybe I'll post it. You're an inspiration, John. Keep going.
You're the inspiration. What's your real name?
My real name? My government name?
I mean, if you donate $1, I'll know your real name.
Yeah, I guess you would know my government name. It's Coral. Coral like the reef. That's my real one. My fake name sounds faker than my real one.
Isn't coral like used by some kind of animal, and then that's how it creates the coral?
No, coral is like it's a plant that's alive in the ocean, like the coral reefs.
Oh,
They're dying.
No, not the coral reef.
And I found out from one of my Aussie friends that coral is usually like a man's name, and I was like, well, that's cool, isn't it?
Well, isn't there two ways to spell it? Like, I have a friend who's Polish. His last name is Coral, but with a K.
With a K, that's corral. That's what that means, like a horse stable.
Hmm.
Coral with a C is the ocean. I had a friend with like name. Fun facts, actually. Quick story, just kind of funny thought. Once when I was in grade school, I first used into like the U.S. and they had no desks, like short on students, short on funds, whatever. And so it was Coral with a K and Coral with a C. We had to share a desk, so we're like sitting side by side. We became best friends. This bitch made us sit in the same desk. That's crazy. It was fine though. She had her side, she had my side. We like, and then we eventually like share our little pencil things. Like, she was the cutest thing. I wonder where she is now.
Well, George, thanks again for the $5. We will put even $5 to good use.
I guess I could like Venmo you if you got a Venmo.
Yeah, do it. I wish you the best of luck.
I know you're pro-Israel. I'm pro-Israel. Israel's my number 2. My number 1 is America, and then Israel's my number 2. So I think anything extra or leftover or where we want to send money overseas, Israel is my favorite place to send it, because I think it's keeping the world safe from international terrorism.
I love that. Absolutely, because like, what can one man do other than start a community? You know. But it only takes one man. I wish you the best. I hope you win.
Thanks,
only got so on Cash App, it like asks for like your address and stuff, so I have to like at least give me a zip code, or I got Venmo.
Yeah, you can Cash App if you want. I'll put the Cash App in the chat, but I won't
I
have
don't
your...
see it. I don't use Cash App very often. Venmo would be my preferable because it goes straight to the bank.
Yeah, don't sweat it. I don't have Venmo, or I don't really use it. But...
Man.
That's okay.
If you can send me a zip code, I can Apple Pay.
Oh, you can click the link above in Apple Pay.
Yeah, I tried, but I need a zip code. It's telling me. I don't know. It might be something on my end or your end, but it's asking for like billing information, and it's not like for me. I don't know. I'm trying. Because honestly, John, I hope you win. They need some changes out there, man.
about black on black crime. If that was going on, I missed it. And if you recall, when Mother was like, hey, let's move on, I even said, yeah, let's move on from the topic too. It's early. Nobody really wants to talk about pedophilia. But I know by that point, Monica had asked you for the statistics. You provided them, and y'all had a moment with regards to that. Lastly, I'll say, Joe B, I'm from the Chicagoland area too. Will y'all stop saying Chicago is a war zone, because it's not? Okay, I can go down to downtown Chicago right now and chill and be cool and not be shut up. Are there areas in the Chicagoland area, there neighborhoods that are unsavory? Absolutely. But we have to stop this narrative that Chicago is Chirac, because it's not. All right.
Okay, this is how it went down. Hold on, let me tell you.
Hold on, I'm going to respond to her. I don't think I said that. I said...
You said Chicago is a war zone.
Yeah, well, it is compared to South Bend.
Yeah, she said Chicago's a war zone because we were talking about do we support Trump sending in the National Guard, right? And then we went into the top 10 cities with the most violence. And then we got to New Orleans. And then when we were talking about New Orleans, someone said, oh, I bet you that's from a certain demographic of people, you know. And then we started getting into, how does poverty play into that? And different things like that. And then another guy came in, I think it was Mother, with his per capita data on black people and violence. And I'm like, oh, here we go. On a good Saturday morning where I was enjoying my Cheerios. And so that, whenever I hear that, because they love those statistics on black people per capita and violence, that's when I chose to come in with my per capita on pedophilia and white men.
Gotcha. Okay. I missed Mother saying that. And so my apologies. Okay, now
I actually don't remember Mother saying that, but okay.
We know you don't care.
Exactly right. You moron.
So so to answer your question, how can I sit and listen? Listen, I'm just listening and chilling. I know in these types of rooms, and not when I say these types, not just in the muff, but rooms that host various topics. I know we will eventually move on from this topic, so I'm just letting it play out, and eventually we will move on to another topic. And Othello, I think there's no need for me to I suppose, insert my black card into the conversation, because I feel like you're doing a good job representing the Black Coalition.
Well, yeah. Like I said, there's a reason why Joe B said, like Joe B's being quiet right now, but she knows that was the basis of the combo, because that's why she said in the comments, Chicago is a war zone. And then they started talking about New Orleans food, because they were talking about how New Orleans was one of the most violent cities.
I live an hour away from Chicago. We're getting trickle down of the bad guys. Don't tell me about Chicago and what
What's
they're doing.
the nickname for Chicago that I didn't coin? Who coined the nickname for Chicago, and what is it?
I first heard Chirac from Spike Lee, I think. But I could be wrong, if that's the word you're referring to.
It is. And I didn't know.
Seeing the amazing ingenuity of the people of Nepal, you will be stunned. In the mountainous regions of Nepal, people cut old plastic drums to create a brilliant system for transporting water downhill. By connecting these drums, they create a channel through which water flows without the need for expensive pipelines. And with this ingenious method from Africa, you can fit a cylinder in and out without touching it. Seeing the amazing ingenuity of the people of Nepal, you will be
that was set in Chicago about the Chicago violence. I don't remember.
I think there's more Hamas members in Gaza than there are gang members in Chicago. And like I said, I support what Trump's doing, honestly, because no matter how many people it is, when a bullet hits a child, that's when it's gotten out of hand, and when people can't police their own neighborhoods. But I think trying to paint black people as inherently violent,
Who did that? Who said that?
My end goal was to say that there are more white sexual abusers than there are black gang members in America, and I stand on that.
Well, let me just say this really quickly about the Chicago violence, which a lot of people in Chicago, my peers and professional folks, one thing we've noted is Chicago has a lot of CCTV. There's a lot of surveillance cameras, especially in certain neighborhoods. And yet, all this violence that they claim goes down. I'm not claiming that there's no violence, but it's interesting. They don't have a lot of arrests. They can never solve any crimes. They can never tell you who did it, right? They can never trace the bullets back to the shooter, considering all the cameras that they have, right? And then they want to blame it on lack of police and the politicians. And it's like, okay, the cases go closed. The cases go cold. Very interesting.
Well, I've watched a lot of documentaries on Chicago. I've done some extensive research on the communities that were displaced from major project buildings and then scattered throughout certain neighborhoods. And what I did find from several documentaries is that there are a lot of corrupt officials in those police departments, and they conduct sting missions and also commit crimes under mules and masks. And they have detention centers within these cities that aren't known to the public. There's actually been cases of families who have found out about those centers and they sue and they get paid off and it never makes the news and so forth and so on. So very, very
Yeah, that's a lot of that speaks to some of the theories that a lot of Chicagoans, a lot of natives have about some of the violence here. Again, we're not saying it doesn't exist, but the media blows a lot of it out of proportion. And sometimes, residents do as well. But I guess it all depends on the proximity to the violence, right? I remember it's like when I first moved to LA, and folks would say, don't go down to Watson Compton. Don't go down to Watson Compton. You'll be shot, this, that, and the other. And I remember the first time I found myself having to go down to these areas to handle business and how nervous I was because of all the violence. You're going to be shot. That I would hear on the news and TV. And then I finally would go down there my first time, and I'm like, what's the problem? It's just a normal neighborhood. It's just a normal city. Nobody's fucking with me. Nobody's following me. There's not gangs, causing havoc on the street corners. There's no drive-by shootings. Again, not to say these things aren't happening, but it's just wild. Once you actually live in a situation versus take the narratives from the media. I'll say this and I'll land. There was even a white guy, I remember at the time, for one of the news channels out there. He had the same kind of fear. So he took a camera. He documented for the news channel. He said, I'm going to go down to Watson Compton, one of these black-ass neighborhoods that they tell folks, don't go down, she'll be shot out, all the violence. He decided to go down there with his 2-man film crew to walk around his neighborhood as 2 white dudes with a camera crew, with a camera and a microphone, to see what would happen. You know what happened? Absolutely nothing, right? And so he went in expecting violence and chaos and racism and to get beat up. And, he ended the day enjoying probably some Roscoe's chicken and meeting, vibing out with the culture, right? So that's why I always push back when folks, especially, not giving you a shit, JB, because a lot of folks do this. Chicago's a war zone. Chicago's the worst city. And sometimes the people say these things and they've never been to Chicago. They've never visited Chicago. They take it from the news, right? And it's like, our mayor, the mayor down there and mayors before him, they've not pumped billions of dollars in certain areas of this city, gentrified the city, moved, the unsavory elements, pushed them out of certain neighborhoods into the suburbs, which many suburbanites don't like, right? They haven't done all this to feed and foster the bad elements of Chicago. So I hate when our people, and I mean fellow Chicagoans, help the media push this false narrative that Chicago's a war zone, and it's not. Because when you say that, to me, I translate it as you're saying, all of Chicago, you can't go there, you'll get shot, it's bad, and that's not.
I said that as it relates to the surrounding communities, of which I live in one. And we get a lot of trickle down.
No, and I get that, and I respect that, and that's why I said they push the unsavories out into the suburbs and the surrounding areas. I understand that 100%, and you said that moments ago, and I figured that may have been your perspective, and I totally respect.
All right, so I'm gonna take a minute on the mic. Othello came in expecting this to be a white space, and he started with the insults, and he was expecting to hear that 13% of the population is over 50% of the homicide. But Goat and I broke that down once, because it's not 13%. You say half of Black Americans are male, that's 6%. Then you say 6% is, then you have to go by age, right? Because the youth tend to be in all demographics, not just Black Americans. The youth tend to be risk prone, pro-life birth. So we calculated about 0.7% of that group of people are the homicidal maniacs that chain murder people for a myriad of reasons, and should be the people that we're talking about instead of the 13%. But Othello, new here, not used to the way we do the rooms, and unaccustomed to people not getting triggered from his narrow framing and having a full-throated conversation civilly with him. So, there's...
Well, NY, Serenity, Joe,
Serendipity.
Matt, Serendipity. They're not going to sit here and let you lie on me. I didn't insult anyone. I've been even keeled, and I've only talked about the data. So I think you still have some personal things that against me, for bringing up these stats that you need to work out, or we can talk in private. I'm here to have a civil conversation, just like anyone. And I think I've been, like I said, pretty even keeled and balanced.
You refuse to address the rates of other races. You hyper-focus on the percentage.
That's what the data focuses on.
You take the whole and you examine everything.
That's what the data, look,
I've asked you several times for solutions, but you really don't care about the solutions.
I do have solutions.
You didn't share them the 5-7 times I asked for them. Let's hear one.
I did share.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that maybe both of your perceptions could be true? I mean, perhaps you picked up on the fact that you felt like Othello wanted to pull this particular demographic of stats to, in his words, point a mirror at the white people. And do you think that maybe simply because of your experience and your other engagements on Clubhouse
with Othello, we follow each other, Serendipity.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like this is more personal between the two of you than it is about actually having the conversation. I feel like there's a little bit of one-uppance going on between the two of you.
Well, I want to have the conversation. And then when I actually started to see, this is the thing, they love talking about the data points.
Who's they?
But certain people that bring up these demographics, and just like how you were able to...
You brought up the demographics.
I didn't know y'all had an
No,
issue.
Serendipity, no, it's fine. I'll behave, I promise.
You just brought up like specific data points on Black homicide rates.
Do you disagree? I thought you would agree with that framing.
Hold on. Where someone like Certainty, right, in NY, they're able to explain the nuances from within these communities of why certain things are the way they are. You don't care about that.
Wait, you're telling me that I'm wrong? That 0.7% of the 13% are responsible? That wasn't nuanced enough for you?
You need people like Sir.
I'm holding on tight in the mouth, holding on.
You need people like NY who can explain to Joe, right, who will never go into these neighborhoods, or a lot of the white people in this room, even you, who will never go and rub shoulders with these black people, right, and give you the nuance of why things are the way that they are. And even when I gave you a nuanced perspective on the crack cocaine that was introduced by the government into Compton, that was the first neighborhood where the crack was introduced and planned to be infiltrated into these ghetto neighborhoods in the 80s by the mafia, by the government, according to Gary Webb, who was later killed. And his movie, his feature film, Kill the Messenger, explains what happened, right? As soon as I said that, you said, oh, we're going to blame the white man. So you don't want to hear the nuances of how these situations got to the way they are. You just want to talk about the statistics to push your own agenda, which I think is black genocide.
Wait, whose agenda is black genocide? Who?
You and all the people.
Serendipity, you're right. No, we're just like, I apologize, serendipity.
The same rooms talking about the same talking points on and pull up the same statistics on black people and our homicide rates, right? You guys, when it's time to talk about the nuance and it's time to talk about black trauma, and it's actually trying to talk about how we can get out of this mess, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear how it got there, and you don't want to hear about what we can do to fix it. All you want to do is push those rates, right, so that they can do what they're doing now, and that's send in the National Guards and have police states. That's your agenda. And that's these white men's agenda who came in with those original statistics and then disappeared once I came with the statistics on pedophilia in the white community.
Here's if I may add, here's a principle I try to follow, because just so that it results in peaceful conduct, right? A lot of folks misconstrue the definition of a debate versus a conversation. See, if I'm going to participate in a debate, the first thing that means is equal and unbiased moderation, right? So if you invite me to a debate, especially on Clubhouse, it's most likely that I'm not going to attend if I know that there's not going to be balanced and unbiased moderation. That's number one. Number two, if you're having a conversation, right? A conversation is where both parties or all parties involved in the conversation can have dialogue. One party is going to take whatever information that they can from that dialogue, whether it's a refresher that they already know or it's new information that they're learning, and then the other party's going to do the same, and you're going to walk away enlightened, or like I said, refreshed. So I think a lot of times folks are trying to have conversations with people who are trying to debate, and vice versa, and I find that to be unhealthy.
Roland Fryer in the Jumbotron. 13-year-old speech in Barcelona about education and about how he observed the successes in limited resource schools, still producing scholars, still producing children who academically achieve. And what he found was bribe the kids for good grades, have an environment and a culture in the school that actually fosters recognition of academic achievements. It's a great speech. It's 80 minutes long. I can bring it on a replay to Clubhouse for people who are really solution oriented like I am, but not right now. But I do invite people to check it out because he's a brilliant economist, and I think he should be listened to, despite the scandal of his accurate research reflecting poorly on the mainstream media narrative that Black men are hunted for death in our country by police.
How about those dogs?
Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
I want a puppy for real.
Oh, happy Saturday, everybody.
So I admit to being annoyed and irritated and mildly aggressive, but serendipity was our role.
I think because of prior experiences, both of your arguments are a little disingenuous.
Well, okay, now you've got my attention. What part did I say that wasn't? No, ma'am. Seriously, don't tell me I'm disingenuous and not tell me how.
I don't think it has.
What did I say?
Okay, are you going to let me talk? Are you going to let me answer the question?
Yeah, because I need to know.
Okay, let me answer the question. I don't think that either one of you statistically said anything that was inaccurate. I think it's the tone and the inflection and your engagement that is disingenuous.
Well, explain to me how. Because I don't think you're using disingenuous correctly. You can say irritated, you can say obnoxious, you can say arrogant, you can say
correct,
but
when
not disingenuous.
When all of those things apply to a conversation, you are engaging in that conversation disingenuously.
But I'm not. I'm highlighting hypocrisy and the double standards. And the fact that he doesn't give me the 0.7% and recognize that there's nuances you can possibly get, and just recognize the points that I'm right. I've never disputed his data. Never. So I think you're wrong on this one, friend. And we can agree to disagree.
Well,
we can.
Always, right?
Genuinely, with people that you've just met and you have these conversations, there's a much different air about you than there was with Othello. That's my only point. I've heard you have these conversations, and I've heard you have them really well.
That's because no one has the data that I have. No one took the time to look up the data.
The data that you have is on the government website. Of course.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is no one even cares to look.
Oh, I've been in rooms where they've talked about the population of white people and pedophilia. I've been in rooms where they've talked about the population of white people and serial killers. No, I absolutely have. I've had those discussions too. I'm just saying, I don't think that either one of you were really interested in actually having Othello. I'll make you were very reasonable. I felt like you were not emotional. I felt like you were trying to highlight things, and when you explained your whole premise behind, pointing a mirror at other people, all of that resonated with me. I felt like there was a lot of genuineness there. It took me, probably because I don't know you, it took me a little bit longer to determine that, okay, you and Mon obviously have history. And so some of this just passive-aggressive back and forth, like I said, it just doesn't necessarily do well. But I thought you've been most pleasant and most polite on this stage. I'm happy for you to ever join any room that we have. I have no personal issues with you, but I don't think that you and Monica even want to hear each other. So I think engaging in these conversations with her is probably not the most productive use of either of your time.
Well, that's the thing. 2 of her cronies ran off because they couldn't deal with the data, and that's Mother and Well. You know, so it's not just me and Monica. The whole room was talking about this when I came in.
I will have to tell you, Mother